So you're going to create something similar to this example. So you're going to be, so yours is not going to be designer discounts. This was my made up example. You guys are going to make up your own example. If you're into food, you can do it in food. If you're into games, you can do it on games. If you're into basketball, basketball season is starting, you can do basketball or hockey or whatever it is you guys like. If you're into dogs, it can be dogs. I don't care what your topic is, okay? But you're going to end up creating an indexed array, okay? And then you're also going to do an associative array and a multi-dimensional array. And you'll also have to do a custom array. And so that's for my different arrays. My example is similar to what you have to do. So I am giving you the zipped file that you can download. So you can see how. Part one, you are going to do the index array. And you use mine as a template. You guys, I'm kind of giving you a little template here. Okay, so with buttons already in place. Do you have to keep it this way if you want to style it? I love styling. You guys, you're going to have to add a background graphic to it anyway. You can style it however you want, okay? You do not, but this is your template, okay? And I do have it in a zip file so you can download it and use it. The file has comments where the PHP code needs to go. Okay, basically for each of the sections. So there's comments where you put the index code and the associative array code, etc. So this is what you guys are going to be modifying. For the indexed array, you need 4 indexed arrays. You should have numbers in at least 2 of the arrays. You're going to be printing out the arrays using probably a combo of the echo and printf statements. Printf is the only way that you can get things in columns, okay? Unless you're going to put it into a bootstrap table. Okay? I use echo for types, and those displayed above the place where I printed out the actual array. When you print from the arrays, you definitely are going to need to use some type of loop, which is why I gave you all sorts of examples showing you how to access the data in the array. For the printf, and this is what's going to give you columns, for whole numbers, you need to use a conversion specifier of % and a D. The number between the % and the D is basically the width of the column. Okay, so that's how wide the column is going to be. For numbers with decimal places, those start with a % and they end with an F for floating point decimal. And then in between, the first number is the width, and then you have a dot, and then it's the number of decimal places. Okay, and that will eliminate having numbers like 0.33333. Okay, if you say 2 decimals, you only see 2 of them. If you want to change the alignment, if you put a minus sign after the %, so % minus, so it's before the number, that will left align the number. Okay, otherwise, it's going to right align it. For text, to get columns that are nice, it's going to be a %. It's going to end with an S for string. And then in between is how many characters you allocate. So to loop through, you are going to use a for statement. So in the example that you're going to download, This is part of the reason I gave you an example. Okay? You can see this little section has an ID of indexed. Okay, and so this is the code for my indexed arrays. I have 3. You guys have to create 4. Okay, and so I've got price, quantity, and item. Okay, so you guys can work up any example you want. So if you want to do a company and you want to do salaries or department numbers, salaries are numeric, department numbers are numeric. That would handle the numeric. Okay, you could have employee name, and you could also maybe have title in one. Okay, so you guys can do that. You can see that I like using rand, so I just am randomly assigning prices. Okay, and I did the same thing with quantity. Okay, and then I actually have different items in my designer warehouse. Okay, and then here I'm printing out the title, and you can see I threw a class of Jumbotron in there, which is Bootstrap. Then I've got my little 4. And so basically this is printing out the item. So I've given it 30 characters and I'm printing out the item. Okay, and then I've got another print section for quantity and pricing. So here I've got, now I'm going through all of the items, and I've got, you'll notice the 4D, that would be for quantity. Then I've got %S, which is going to be for my items, discounted at, and then I'm showing the price. So I've got quantity, item, price. So this is quantity, this is item, this is price. So in a printf statement, wherever you're going to put those variables, you have to have a conversion specifier. So quantity goes here. Okay, my next variable is my item. That goes here. And then you might wonder, why didn't you give your item a width? Because I'm not doing columns. Okay, for this, I don't want a bunch of spaces because it's part of a sentence. Okay, so I didn't give that a width. And then my third one is the price, and that goes right here. And I left aligned that. Okay, so I did 3, you guys have to do 4, 2 of them have to be numbers. Okay. Associative arrays. So if you want to do completely different arrays, I do not care as long as they are associative arrays. Okay. I did the same thing. Okay. I thought it's just easiest to keep it the same and then convert the type of array. So that's what I did. And you can see for price, I did not get super creative with my key names. So for the first one, I called it 1. For the second one, I called it 2. For the third one, I called it 3. Not particularly creative key names, but it works. Okay? And you can see for quantity, I did the same thing. Okay? Do you have to do it that way? No. If you guys want to use creative names, you can. Okay? Totally up to you. In fact, if you wanted to come down and take your item and make that, you know, the key, you could do that because the key name can be what you want. If it is text, you just have to remember to put it in quotes. Okay? So these are associative arrays. Okay? And so you can see I did the same thing here. And then, again, I'm printing out the title. I'm printing out all of the items first. And then I've got basically the same sentence down here. So this is very similar to what I did above. The difference is how I'm accessing the data. Okay? I'm using a for each here. And so I've got the key and the value. And then on this one, I'm using a for loop. Okay, and this is working because of the way I assigned the keys. Okay, but you guys can do something else if you want to. It's pretty much up to you. You have to have 4. 2 of them have to be numbers, but you can have whatever you want. Okay. Then I've got multi-dimensional arrays. So an array of arrays. So for my first one, I've got pricing. And you can see I've got New Year, Valentine's, Madness, Spring, Mom. And then I've got some random numbers. Okay. And then I've got another little items array. So these are different codes, accessories, handbags, so classifications and codes basically. Okay. So for this, you need at least 3 multi-dimensional arrays. I created 2. You guys need 3. Okay. Do they need to be this long? No. Okay. They just have to be multi-dimensional, which is you have an outer array and you have an inner array. Okay. So what I did with this, when I printed, I actually used the pre-tag and I highlighted it. And if you remember, this is way back in the 180 class when we talked about graphical tables. Pre stands for pre-formatted. So if you use pre-formatted, it will keep your spacing intact. Okay, and so it does this, but it looks a little bit different. I don't know if I still have that example. The way that it looks is it uses courier type. Now you could obviously style it so it didn't use courier, but this is how it looks. Okay, and you can see that's a lot different than our regular type. Okay, but that's what the pre-tag does. That little thing needs to go away. Okay. So for the first loop, I've got items in stock, and then I'm printing out a little heading, product code, and name. Okay, and then I've got a for each loop, and I'm printing out, let's see, this is from my items array, which is this one. So I'm basically just printing out the product code and the name. That's all that's getting printed. And you'll notice that the headings and what I'm printing have the same widths. Okay, so here I've got 15 for product code and then 40 for name, and I left aligned that. And then I've got 15, which is my code here, first column, and then I've got 40, which I left aligned, which is the name. Then I've got price discounts, and so I'm printing those out with a for each as well. Okay, and this is just basically going to be printing out the pricing. Okay, so the example has 2 arrays, you guys need 3. So with your PHP array file still open, there's going to be a section labeled custom array. That is the 4th section here. And it's weird when you open this, the remaining buttons get pushed to the bottom. That's just kind of a bootstrappy thing. So you open it and close it and they come back. So the custom array is this. Okay. So with the custom array, you're going to create an indexed array, can have whatever you want, an associative array, which can have whatever you want, and a multi-dimensional array that can have whatever you want. Okay. you're going to create a function that'll print the contents of all 3 arrays. The function should print the arrays using the table tag. And you'll apply one of the Bootstrap classes to the table for formatting. And then you'll call the function to print out data from the 3 arrays. You're going to add an item to the indexed array using array push. You're going to add an item to the multidimensional array, but you can't use array push for that, okay, because it's multidimensional. So to add the item, I'm actually helping you out and giving you code here that will work for adding. But where I've got multi-dimensional array name, you need to sub in the name of the array. Okay? Because I don't think any of you are going to call your array that. Okay? So, and then this is how you would add to that. You also need to add another entry to the associative array, and I'm also giving you a little hint here, but basically that's a little easier because it's just whatever your new key is going to be, and set that equal to the value you want to store. And then you're going to do another print with those new values. So I kind of summarized what you need to do here, step by step. And then the file that I gave you to download has some code you can look at. Okay, so the ID for this section is custom. Okay, so I've got employee and position. Okay, and then I've got this little multi-dimensional one here. Okay, so this is an indexed one. This is the associative one. This is the multi-dimensional one. Okay, and then I've obviously got a function called print info. And you can see I'm passing it the 3 arrays. Okay, and where is print info? It's way down here. Okay, so here's print info, bringing in the 3 arrays. Okay, and then I'm basically just processing here. Okay, so I'm printing out a heading, I'm printing out column headings, and you can see inside here is where I'm doing the table information. So this is the HTML table tag with the class set to table, which is Bootstrap. And then I've got the table row. This is headings. So I've got customer number, name, employee, position. That's my first row. That is my headings. Then I get into a for each loop to process the data. Okay, so at the end, when I'm done with the for each, I close off the table. So this is pretty similar to what you guys have to do. Okay, this one, because I did all 3, which is what you guys have to do. So with arrays, you guys are definitely going to have to test this offline. Do not try to transfer without testing in Laragon or Dev Server, because most people are going to have errors that they need to fix. Okay, that's pretty normal. As far as the styling of the PHP page that I'm giving you, you do need a background graphic. You should be using the Jumbotron class for the headings, which I am using in the examples. And you can use whatever colors you want. Any other adjustments you want to make with CSS are fine. Okay, so you can make the page look however you want. Okay, you guys have any questions? Okay, so we have the rest of today, and you guys also have the full period on Wednesday to work on this. And so if you get stuck, just grab me and I'll take a look at it. I'm pretty good at finding PHP errors. Okay.